Hello everybody, my name is Zerduku and welcome back to another Shoe on Head video. This is apparently about a movie I never heard of before. It's called Cuties. This is my second Shoe on Head video today. Let's see if I can get through it without losing my mind. Because the last one actually made me a little bit mad at Shoe, but something tells me this one's going to make me very angry. But maybe not. We'll see what happens.
Oh, what a terrible time to have eyes. This is the new Netflix Sundance Film Festival movie, Cuties. This
Never heard of
promo
it.
photo was released a few weeks ago, and it sparked a bit of controversy. And I don't blame anyone, it just straight up looks like child just straight up looks like baby strippers. Here's the original
Baby strip. They're not quite babies, but yeah, but
description for the movie from Netflix. Amy, 11, becomes fascinated with a twerking dance crew. Hoping to join them, she starts to explore her femininity, defying her family's traditions.
interesting. You know, huh. This sounds like an attack on it sounds like this movie is like a metaphor attack on Christianity or something. I feel like that's what this is. Uh, Maybe she will explain it further so I can understand because I don't fully understand right now.
11 and twerking dance crew should never be in the same sentence. And it's directed by Maymona Ducouture.
Not English, obviously.
I tried.
Oh, well, to be fair, it would make sense that's there there's something about outside countries that don't view sex the same way as we do. Matter of fact, in Japan, they're okay with little girls and little boys having sex. But for an example, but there's also other countries that are just the same as that. But there's not that many of them because Christianity is everywhere and it's causing a problem. And then you got the American culture that's like butchering, like pushing, the narrative, which is making it very hard for people to find love these days.
But even during the outrage, I kind of held off talking about this for a little while because there was some conflicting information coming out. This is the Netflix promo, and this is the original French promo.
There are different.
Mignoins. Mignons. Mignoins. Ha ha ha, who cares? Fake language, fake country. Apparently the film is about how child exploitation is bad. So I thought, okay, this is just Netflix being weird and creepy and using pedo bait to get people to click. Like, that's disgusting. But at least the movie itself isn't gross and creepy. Right?
The movie, I don't know.
Oh my god, the Rotten Tomato score. Holy shit.
I don't even know what
I
to
have
see
never
this.
seen a ratio that bad. Oh my god. So I'm gonna talk about the controversy first, and all the disgusting shit first, and then I'm actually going to give an honest review of this movie. Like, a lot of people talking about this movie didn't actually watch it, and I don't blame them at all, honestly. If you didn't watch it and you just wanted to talk about
I never heard of this movie before, and it makes sense because I live in America, so they wouldn't allow this. Not even on Netflix.
fucking gross all this shit is, I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to watch it either. The only reason I'm doing this is because I want to save you guys from getting arrested by the feds. Take me instead. I have lived a long life. You guys are Zoomers, you know. I am an old, crusty millennial. I am basically a grandma in internet years. So, take me, feds. And yes, I did film myself watching it. Okay, so someone's dancing sexily in the laundry room, but I think it's an adult, so I think. I hope. Nope! It's a child! Oh, and now she's twerking. Okay, well, oh, now they're all twerking. Okay. Oh my god, every time I look, there's an ass on the screen. Of an 11-year-old. Why the up closes? Like, why? Why did we need to see her ass as she walked up the stairs? Why? No, no, no.
This is me when I'm like, when people are reading my books. And this is bad behavior. All the same, trust me. You shouldn't cringe over, sexuality because it's normal. I think this is our problem. Maybe it's not so much as Christians, although they probably make it worse. Maybe what it is they put it in our head that sex is bad. That's probably what it is. And the moment that we see, sex stuff being shown, we all get like cringy when we're putting our heads like this, and we're like, oh no, they're showing us something normal like titties and people having sex so they can procreate. That is so fucking retarded. We need to break that. We need to break that. It's really horrible.
No.
That we can't even look at normal stuff
IMDb,
anymore.
This is what is in the movie. Lengthy and excessive close-up shots of breasts, bums, and spread crotches of scantily clad 11-year-olds during numerous sexual dance routines. A pair of tight leather pants on an 11-year-old girl are forcefully pulled down while the camera focuses on her panty-exposed bum. During one of the many highly sexualized and erotic dance scenes that purposely exploit and objectify numerous scantily clad underage girls, one of the female child dancers lifts up her crop top to fully display her bare breasts. That was a child? Oh my god, I remember seeing that. I thought that was an adult. Oh my god. I saw a titty. Not a child titty. It was an adult titty.
Holy shit. Okay, guys. Wow. Okay, so if you guys don't know anything about Friday the 13th, there was a lot of issues with cutting out the gore special effects. Not only the gore special effects, but they did what they could to try to censor the sexual stuff as well. And that's been happening with all movies for a long time. I mean, even way back in my day, and it's never stopped. And over the time, I got so sick and tired of the MPA cutting back on gore, sex. I wish they would just go all out, especially with the sex stuff. As a matter of fact, when I was writing, I had told myself, you know what? If I'm gonna write a sex scene, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna actually, describe people two teenagers, two people actually, dick and vagina concept, and that would not fly on today's movie standards, but even television, it would not fly. But the fact that we have a movie here that has the goal to show a 11-year-old titties to the screen, that's like going up to the MPA with a sledgehammer and bashing their fucking brains in. I'm sorry, I have to give respect. Because I hate the MPA. I hate how much things are censored. But I'm actually... That's... Holy crap! I can't... I know I should not be smiling or laughing at that because it's supposedly wrong because of the stupid shit that people put into our heads. And it's that same thing earlier, like I was saying, that we cannot look at something normal without cringing. But this is, I think, the person that directed this really wanted to go up to, the Christians, the American law people, and the MPA, go up to them with a fucking sledgehammer and bash their fucking brains in. Because because people are just sick and tired of it. People are sick and tired of the not fair rules of making things that are supposed to be normal not normal. It's not fair, and it feels like against freedom. It's like I said in the last video. It's like saying that kids are not allowed to fall in love. Before I get too angry, let's get back to the video.
Look at some of these takes about this movie. Are you ready for this? Cuties, Netflix's review. A provocative power keg for an age terrified of child sexuality.
Perfect description. I actually sometimes I wonder the reason why there's so much gay and lesbian bullshit and anti-sex stuff is because we're not allowing, children to. Well, we're not allowing girls to be feminine, and I think it's almost the same way. There's just like so much bullying. It's not cool. It's not good.
Forget the moral panic. Netflix's controversial French import is disturbing and risque, because that's exactly what it aims to be. Thanks to a major marketing mistake, the award-winning French movie Cuties was accused of sexualizing young girls. Did I imagine what my eyes hath seen? Now, one of the reasons I felt like I needed to talk about this, besides the fact that it's just disgusting and needs to be called out, and besides the fact that thousands and thousands of you wouldn't leave me the f*** alone about it, is this narrative that it's only the right wing mad about this. Cuties, the extraordinary Netflix debut that became the target of a right-wing campaign. Cuties, which has angered scandal mongers on the right, is a story of a girl's outrage at and defiance
I don't know anything about the left and right stuff, so I'm just gonna let the video play at this point.
Of a patriarchal order. Hey, that's cool. That's great. We didn't need this, though.
Well, if it's about girls wanting to be girls and they want to like I don't know be strippers, then why are we making this weird and why are we playing circus music over it? I mean, honestly, I feel like playing circus music makes it more sexy at that point because I mean, think about Harley Quinn, Jesus Christ. Um, I don't know.
We didn't need it. Incidentally, I'm a critic who highly recommends Netflix Cuties. The controversy surrounding it seems to be propaganda fueled by QAnon types and anti-Semites. Audiences
What
hate
Semites?
it because there's a moral panic right-wing campaign targeting it, fueled in part by racism and sexism directed at a black woman.
I wouldn't say racism, but I will say sexism. There's a lot of if people hate this, it's probably they have a sexual problem. They have a sex problem. Period.
Filmmaker. Wrong. Leftists like ShoeOnHead and Vosh are critical of the film. ShoeOnHead is a notorious alt-right asshole. Also, you just tagged 2 aggressive, horrible accounts. Please delete that tweet. You're putting people on the thread at risk. Every left-winger I know was disgusted by this. Every single person I know from all corners of the political spectrum were disgusted by this.
I don't know anything about the left and right, and considering that people are people, I don't think it doesn't matter if you're left or right. What matters at the end of the day is what you think is what people think is right and wrong. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. Like, it was literally a meme for a few days that everybody agreed on this one topic. I apologize to lib rights. I can't find the original meme that was going around. I can only find this version. But just imagine the original one, everybody was saying, what the fuck is wrong with Netflix? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, lib-right friends, I'm sorry. For a few seconds, the internet stood still, and there was like this unspoken solidarity. But that's when you know that what was made was a piece of artwork. Because when you make a piece of artwork that tells the truth in some sort of way, people die inside, and then they're like, then they start hating it, and then people start fighting. That's usually what happens when you make a piece of artwork that is, controversial. Controversial. God damn it! I can't say that word.
No. As always, here comes the journo class, right on cue, the blue check bourgeoisie, to tell us that everyone who has a problem with this is right-wing. Apparently the outrage started on Reddit, and then a bunch of bigger right-wing voices picked it up and started talking about it. And I guess that's where this narrative is coming from,
I just want to check to see if I'm recording, because I can make a mistake. Yes, I am recording.
It's like good and cool. I'm glad that they're talking about this. Maybe one day we could talk about the child marriage laws that... Oh my god, cars passing. Where are you going? Why do you gotta go somewhere? Why are you driving? Where do you have to be? But anyway, can
lost
we
her
please
train
not
of
give
thought.
the
You know, it's funny because I had the same problem. I was trying to say something, and the frickin', people outside were zooming and destroyed my. I think it was people were using the lawnmowers, and it just made me distracted.
Of being against pedophilia to the right wing, or any wing for that matter. It's really gross how this is very obviously being forced into some, like, political partisan issue. Imagine writing this. Imagine writing this and thinking this is an own. It's not an own. Like, hey, are you against...
Yeah, I that's the one thing I will agree with Shu on this one, is that it's stupid that they're turning this into a political thing, but I think they're doing that because they're trying to defend themselves on, like, because they feel like they made a piece of artwork that people just don't understand. And maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know. I didn't see the movie. If I did, maybe I would actually have my own opinions. If I do manage to ever watch Cuties, maybe I'll actually do like a movie review or something. Well, obviously not showing it, but actually coming on here with with the bigger face cam and just like talking what I think about it. And it probably will only be like 9 minutes, probably.
against, like, child exploitation? Guess you're right wing. Oh my god, cars. The world has progressed past the need for cars. Return to monkey.
Do you get the feeling there, Shu, that maybe that's something trying to tell you that you might be wrong about something?
Like I've said, I see a lot of blue check marks defending this, and like journos defending this, and I don't know if they're being paid, or if this is just another case of what I've called in the past compulsive.
Well, let me tell you what it is there, Shu. It's called opinion. People's had different opinions. When you make a piece of artwork, especially one that's confidential, people are going to have different opinions. Some people are going to hate it. Some people are going to like it. Period. That's all I have to say.
Contrarianism. Like, the right is mad about this. Therefore, we, the left, need to defend this. I promise you, we don't gotta do this. We don't gotta defend the pedo movie just because some of right-wing e-celebs are mad about it. I don't understand why it's such a hard oh, sorry, I'm like twisting my goddamn arm around. Have you guys ever seen, hold on, Detour? ADHD medication is not working. So Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard tweeted something against this movie. And Jezebel just now, as I am... Oh, this is fake, by the way. Sorry. Jezebel, our lovely Jezebel, just came out with this article. It would appear that Tulsi Gabbard is peddling QAnon-approved conspiracy theories on Maine. So Tulsi said, Netflix child cuties will certainly whet the appetite of pedophiles and help fuel the child sex trafficking trade. Netflix, you are now complicit. She's spitting, though. So, child trafficking...
Yeah, I am against child trafficking. But, I don't know. Honestly, I much rather prefer that children choose to be strippers versus being forced. I don't know. Our world's fucked up.
Is not a QAnon conspiracy. And Cuties is absolutely, like, softcore, if not just straight up child. I reached out to her office for confirmation, but unfortunately did not hear back. Hopefully she doesn't accuse another up-and-coming female director. Oh, shit. That's the route we're going. See, that's where they're gonna take it. They're gonna be like, oh, how dare you criticize this female director of color. Amazing. Amazing. Literally, the author, like a paragraph down from that, says, I have not yet seen Cuties. Then shut the So as I'm editing, a new article just dropped. The creepy conservative fixation on Netflix's Cuties explained. It ties in neatly with the terror of black and especially African sexuality that lurks just beneath the moral panic around Cuties. So much is centered around the sight of the girls in Amy's mixed-race dance group twerking, emulating a style of dance linked to the African diaspora and then picked up by white artists like Miley Cyrus. Yeah, okay, we're all just racist conservatives. That's who's mad about this. Shut the f up.
I'm sorry, but that was normally I don't call things racist, but that was 100% racist. The way they worded it, and it's I don't know, man.
CIA PSYOP. There was also a YouTuber who reviewed the movie, and at first I thought he was joking. I thought this was sarcasm. Apparently it's not.
This film does try to make you sexually aroused by 11-year-olds. And I'll say it's not bad at it. That's the whole point of the movie, is that you're supposed to be sitting there thinking, look at the blonde one. You're supposed to be sitting there holding these two thoughts in your head, and one that these are kids, and the other that they're hot.
I'm done.
Maybe? I don't know. I haven't seen the film.
I'm done with the human race. I'm done with the human race. F the first fish that crawled out of the water. But really, this person's review just kind of exposes, like, why this is so bad. Why I and, like, many other people have a problem with this movie. No matter the intention, it's still sexualizing kids. And that's bad.
Sexualizing kids are bad. Well, here's something that I come to realize with, children who take pictures of their naked bodies online. They do it because they think they have a good figure, and a lot of them do. And it's more like body empowerment. And when a guy, or some people will call them a creepy old man or whatever, says they look good and they want to have sex with them, rather than being scared, they actually feel like they're validated because that means that they succeeded on trying to maintain their figure. And so I don't know. I honestly feel like when you say that sexualizing little girls is bad is a good thing, just because of you're taking down a person's, like, a body empowerment of trying to stay healthy. I think is the minor issue with that problem, with that concept. I don't know. I feel like the film is might be more of a stab towards religion more than, and people's, like, constant, like, saying that kids are not allowed to be in love, which is bullshit. And that's what I feel. But it could be, yeah, trying to promote sex trafficking, which is more force. But I think it has to do, but that would have to do with what the film is actually about, and that's not what I'm getting out of this. So I feel like there's some information that's not being told to me.
One of the girls in this movie, her parents are too busy to pay attention to her. And that's like the biggest thing here. Pay attention to what the fuck your kids are doing. This happens every day on like TikTok, YouTube, like everywhere, all over the internet. Just unsupervised kids. Like when I was younger, I would dress up like Britney Spears and I would put my little snake plushie around my neck and dance to Slave for You. Bitch, I didn't know what the fuck any of that meant or what I was doing. The difference is my parents would never ever let me put something like that on the internet. Not like we had internet.
Yeah. I don't know what to you know what, fuck, I don't know what to say about
This was
that.
during the before times when we just, communicated via smoke signal.
No, we used, I remember we used walkie-talkies back in the day.
I forgot. Point is, they definitely wouldn't let me put anything like that on the internet or go on stage or be in a movie like this. Just the fact that these are real children in a movie, like their parents gave it the okay. Like if I was a parent and I took one look at that script, I would just call the police. Imagine these kids like growing up and
That's how you know it's not an American country.
looking back at this movie. Hollywood in general, just like the movie industry, just fucks children up. Which, by the way, reminds me, I still have to make my Dan Schneider video. Dan getting the Van Schneider. Dan the Footman Schneider. So let's get to the actual review of this movie. Did I like it? No.
Of course not.
So let's pretend we live in a world where those creepy scenes did not exist in this movie. It's still a very meh movie. And I feel like without these creepy scenes, nobody would have paid attention to this movie. The outrage market basically sold this movie. And I feel dirty.
That's the point. I mean, when you want to make something that's controversial, you want to make something as controversial as possible in order to get the views. You might say that's negative popularity, but what controversy does is that it provokes change. And change only happens when people start arguing, when people, and when people start to, and when people argue, people start, losing arguments, and that can cause, a shift in balance in the way the rules in the world work. And that is the importance of making a controversial story. And I have to say, by the sounds of it, I have a little bit of respect for this movie just because it actually sort of breaking, a lot. It started breaking a lot of cliches, and that has basically brain rotted us into believing that sex is wrong, which is stupid because sex is normal.
Myself even joining into that. But my channel, this is a topic that I've discussed many times. And yeah, Hell World. So quickly, the movie is basically about this young girl, Amy, who grows up in a religious family, very strict, very dressed conservatively and stuff like that. And she meets new friends at school who are into dancing. And the whole movie is just kind of like the difference between her home life and then her life with her friends. So going into the movie...
There we go. That's exactly the information I wanted to know. This is indeed a stab towards religion and the way how children are treated, with the idea that children are not allowed to fall in love, they're not allowed to be strippers, and they're not allowed to do this and that. Bullshit. Children should have the freedom to choose. And yes, there are some good and bad choices, but making them so they're not allowed to make choices just because you're afraid they're going to make the bad choice, that's not right. You should allow them, because the thing is, you're not going to learn anything if you don't make a bad choice. Making a bad choice can help you learn how to make the right choices. If you're forced to make the right choices, then you will never learn anything. And that's the thing that I don't like about how children are treated with the concept of sex.
I expected, well, besides that, I expected them to show, like, society showing all these sexualized, like, pictures and videos of women, maybe even young women. But no, the main character, Amy, actually has to go out of her way to steal a phone from her brother and look for that over-sexualized culture. Which was just, like, I don't know, kind of, like, ruined the whole thing. Like, I thought she
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
would be influenced by the world around her, but instead the world around her saw everything these little girls were doing as disgusting. Every adult in this movie, except like one person that was like in the audience. Oh my god, somebody's like, some dude in the audience is like, ew. Police was disgusted at how sexualized these little girls were. It was never framed as a good thing unless it was coming from the little girls' perspectives.
That's a very realistic, because the world does not accept little girls acting like strippers. They don't really accept it. And the moment that you say that's not true, then apparently you have not been paying attention, because children have to constantly deal with the slavery of being a child and not having, the rights to like decide if they want to be strippers or not. And you know, it's like it feels like child labor, slavery almost. Like we lock them up and we say this is how you're supposed to behave and stuff. And I think that's why some children say that their lives are miserable, and of course we adults are so fucking retarded that we can't see it, because we think that people in our control is a good thing. When we have control over someone or control over a thing, we think it's a good thing. But that's not always the case, because sometimes being in control of something can cause to make people feel miserable, and that could be a problem.
Like, they thought it was cool and good, but all the adults in the movie didn't. So there was a framing of it being bad. The movie ends, well, I was about to say spoiler alert, but you don't mind if I spoil cuties for you, right guys? So the climax of the movie is when her family is having a wedding. Her dad is getting married to another wife, and they're having like their big traditional wedding, and like the main character has to wear like a pretty traditional dress, and you could tell she's like dreading putting it on. And the final dance competition are happening on the same exact day, and she's in the middle of dancing, and suddenly she stops and she starts crying, and she leaves. She goes back to her house, still dressed in like the skimpy clothes, and her aunt freaks out, and her mom is like, leave my daughter alone, leave my daughter alone. Before this point in the movie, the whole family has been very against everything that she wants to do. In fact, like they did like some sort of like witchcraft on her to make her not be a little hoe anymore. In that
Yeah, it's literally like something out of Carrie, where Carrie wants to go to a dance, and her mother then locks her in a room with a Jesus statue. And this is why I call people Carrie's mom when they start saying that no, you're not allowed to be a stripper, you're not allowed to be in love with an older man, you're not allowed to be in love with another person. Our society is stupid.
scene, she starts twerking in her underwear. You don't go 1 second without seeing some shit in this movie. I swear to God. But anyway, and it's like, what are you doing? Oh my God, what are you doing? You're a whore, blah, blah, blah. And the mom is like, no, leave my daughter alone, leave my daughter alone. And the mom turns to her and she's like, you don't have to come to this wedding if you don't want to. And that was like a big thing because, you know, that's new. Since when is that a thing? So she actually winds up putting on normal kid clothes and going out to the street and playing jump rope. And that's the end of the movie. So it's kind of like she goes back to just being a normal kid. Like, she finds that happy middle ground. She doesn't have to grow up too fast and be part of this little twerk gang. And she also doesn't have to take part in this, like, super hyper, repressive religion either, and she kind of finds her middle ground and is just a regular 11-year-old. At least that's what it looks like it was supposed to be portraying. That's what I got from it. And for a moment,
it doesn't sound like a good ending, but you know, whatever.
you forget that this movie is softcore child. It was really, really gross and disturbing. Genuinely. I, like, laughed through most of it just because, like, that's my coping mechanism. I just start nervously laughing. So in my video of me watching it, you'll just see me, like, laughing just because that's just how I cope. Just laugh through the pain. The intended message of the movie, the overall intended message, like, apparently what they were going for, child exploitation bad, is fine, and I would love to see a different movie about that, because I feel like that's a really important topic right now. The director wanted to make a movie about how hypersexualization of children was bad, and maybe this is kind of like a hell was paved with good intentions situation, but like, how many people work on a movie, right? Like, hundreds of people work on a movie, and I'm to believe that nobody sat her down and was like, listen, I get what you're trying to do, but maybe less baby ass? Maybe none, even? They could have easily made this movie.
If you did that, it wouldn't be able to get what they were trying to get across. But to me, it sounds like one of those things where they're instantly what they made was, you know, it's a stab towards religion and the constant feeling of not being able to make your own choices as a child. And I kind of sort of remember that a little bit, but you guys do have to understand that I grew up from a Christian family to a certain extent. So I kind of feel that brainwashing bullshit a little bit, and that's why I'm okay with the idea of, you know, a child wanting to be a stripper, or, you know, choosing to be something that's against, you know, the thoughts to a certain extent. But yeah, I even know that yes, I am against gays and lesbians. Yes, that's true, but that's because um being a stripper and seducing men, or like, you know, like a man and a woman, what, you know, trying to seduce each other, that's normal. But the moment you start cutting your dick off or trying to get rid of your tits, that's when it's no longer normal. That's when it's like being like against like Mother Nature and stuff like that. And uh, you know, I hate to tell people this, but porn plays a big role in society, because when a I think I said this before, when you pass puberty, you can get very horny, and that can make, you know, make a lot of your other emotions like anger, especially if you try, you know, trying to suppress it too much. And when you relieve yourself from porn, it's not as terrible to control anymore by that point. And uh with this being about, you know, children wanting to, this is less about porn per se, and more like the idea of, like, you know, children are not allowed to do what they want to do, they're not allowed to make the adult choices. And when that happens, they start to become a little bit rebellious, because whether you like it or not, especially when, because that they're 12, when you hit somewhere between like 9 or 10 years old, That's when the rebellious phase starts to come through a little bit. And when you feel like you're being, as a child, when you feel like you're being forced to do something you don't want to do, you're going to rebel one way or another. And the unfortunate thing about human beings, it doesn't matter if you're an adult or a child, is that you do not have the power to watch anything 24/7. So that means the child in question that's rebellious will find a way to bypass your rules, even if they get in trouble for it. But however, the thing is, they don't care if they get in trouble for it because they want to experience it because there's a part of them that wants to learn and experience it and try to figure out what's right for them. You know, you may think that you're being a stripper is a bad thing, but it may not be, for that particular person. Some people find those things easier. Not so much as easier, but they find a little bit of themselves or find a little bit of like something that makes them feel good, feels right, and taking that away from them isn't right.
without any of those scenes. In fact, they could have just like cropped it in a way where you can't really see their body parts or anything, but it would be like implied
It's called censoring, and people hate censoring.
that they're dancing sexually. Oh my god. Somebody take my tongue. I do not deserve it. Like, there are shots in this movie.
For once, you're right about something.
You know the male gaze, that thing that's like, oh, movies are filmed through the perspective of, like, the male gaze. Well, this movie is shot through the perspective of the pedo gaze. This was like wanting to make a movie about how murder is bad, and then going out with your film crew and just murdering people, just slaughtering people to death, real people. Then at the end of the movie, turning to the camera and being like, murder bad. Like, it ain't.
Maybe, because like I said before, it was more of like they had no idea what they were making. But, that's usually the part of the course with movies nowadays, because I feel like people are just running on zero brain power, brain power left.
Things this ain't it. So that was my critique.
What is that? A bunny rabbit, or is that a cat?
I'm not gonna ask you guys.
That's a
what
bunny
you thought of
rabbit.
it, because honestly, I wouldn't give it any attention. Big special thank you to all my patrons. I love you guys so much. I couldn't do this without you. If you guys,
I think that's going to be the end of that video, which means it's the end of this video. So, it's only 42. No, it's not bad. Usually I have an hour of ShoeOnHead video. That's pretty interesting. Maybe it's because I try to shut up and just let the video go for the most part. But I did actually have some things to say about that, about the things here. But I think I've already said my piece on this. Honestly, I'm very, very curious about cuties, and want to just look at it so I can review it myself and try to understand what people's problem with it is. And I think, and just by being told of what she's saying, I can see what the issues, but I can see what people's issue might be. But it's more stupid shit that I would say propaganda garbage, more or less. I wouldn't say right wing because I don't know anything about it, but the propaganda garbage is sex is bad, and that's the constant freaking. Well, sex is bad for children. That's the constant freaking propaganda that's been talked about for hundreds of years. And just because a rule has existed for a long time doesn't mean it's the right rule. That's what I'm going to say about that. But I don't think I'm going to be able to see cuties because it's not available to me, and it will probably never will be. So that review will probably never happen. So please subscribe, and this is Urduku signing out.